Hey guys, Clouded Journey here. I talked a bit about making some videos about tips and how I hunt and things like that. And my family are out of the house right now. They might come screaming in here in a little bit. And if they do, I might have to put this on pause for a bit. But I had an overnight last night, so I've been sleeping till noon and figured I gotta maybe have a little bit of time to go over something. So let me just click it up here. Um, eBay is one of these awesome tools you can use for hunting for comics. If you're like me and you're in a small town, you're away from big stores, you don't have a lot of options to be going traveling around and hunting. eBay can be a really great resource for finding comics. I've got some really awesome deals on here. Um, there's a few things I like to do to find deals. Um, for one, here I'll show you one of the great things I like to do. If I just have nothing to do and I'm sort of bored and I'm looking around, what I'll do is I'll just go on here, and I was actually doing this the other day, funny enough, and I'll search for something like old comics. So I click up old comics, you get a whole bunch of different things here, obviously. The nice thing with old comics is it can give you a really wide general range of books that are out there. If you guys don't know how eBay works, if you just type it like this straight up, it'll look for things with first like all these words in there, and after that less and less. So it starts out when it says up your best match, it'll show you what the closest to that statement is, and there are some other options we can get into that afterwards that you can use. Um, Now, a few things to look for when you're looking at quote unquote old comics. A listing like this, one box lot, 50 old comics, Marvel, DC, Deadpool. So it's a buy it now for 50 bucks. You can see here, oh, there's some nice books on this thing, but there's definitely more than 50 books here. So when you click on this, I can almost guarantee you this is going to be yeah, like see this here, just random pictures of nothing. These are called a grab bag lot. So these are generally going to be junk. If you've ever bought one and got a good deal on something, I'd love to hear it, because I don't touch these with a 10-foot pole. What these are, guys like you and me who buy lots of comics because we want to pick out a few good ones, and then we get stuck with all this extra crap, and they send it to you. So if you're just looking for some random stuff, your nephew or something, this might be an option. But for us guys who like to hunt, you do not, just avoid these. So be looking for this stuff. If it looks like just a general picture and it's an exact number like 50, clearly that's more than 50. A lot of time there'll be a whole bunch of keys there. Don't bite. That's just going to be a waste of your time. Here's another one, a lot of 15 random books, has a giant size X-Men. You're not going to get a giant size X-Men in there. That's not random. What I do look for are things, let's see if I can find a good one. See, that's another one. Here's one, it looks like an okay book, but Detective Comics number 341. So what that means to me is that if somebody is looking for Detective Comics 341, they're going to be able to find this book no problem. So you're not finding the hidden gems there. Something like this. It's a lot of 14 old books. Marvel, Spawn, X-Men, and more. Just look at the picture. It looks like it's probably going to be 90s junk, but it's 10 bucks plus 15 shipping. Okay, it might be worth just taking a closer look quickly. So you can open it up. What a lot of these guys who don't know how to sell, first of all, they don't have that book named in there. So say this had like a first appearance of Gambit in here or something. That book isn't in the list, so it's not searchable. So if I'm going to buy that book specifically and search it, this lot isn't going to come up for me. So you can look at the pictures, like here. Okay, this is the first appearance of Phalanx. It's a really minor key, but if that was a bigger key or that book ever took off, like this lot is sitting here and nobody knows that it's here. No one's going to be able to search it and find this lot for that book. So there's some good, you can find some good things in here. I've found some of my best ones I've found since I've moved, and because of the shipping and stuff, it ends up not being that worth it to ship out here. But I found some really good deals on here. So like this one, large comic, old and new. I got, looks like a copper bronze age book here on the top, so that tells me, okay, there's some good stuff. This is a large lot. It's 80 bucks, 100 bucks total, or best offer though. So could get an okay deal here. So crack her open and look at the pictures. Doing your work here is what's going to help you find these deals. I don't know any of these books. Dazzler #1, okay, not bad. That's a cool Carnage book. I've never seen that one. uh, 11 Rockets here. I know those are high demand for a lot of people. That's a classic 80s book. I'll show you one. Actually, I was thinking about doing this video, and then this actually came up. So it's on my watch list. So I started like sort of picturing in my head, okay, how would I do this video? What would I be saying? And I sort of did exactly what I just did. I searched for old comics. So I'm not signed in here. So go to my watch list here. So I found this one. A lot of 36 old DC, Superman, and Batman family comics. This guy's got high rating, 100%, so good, looks okay to me. And so I saw he had some older stuff here. I started looking through. You guys are gonna come snipe this one from me? No, that's fine. This one was in Canada, so it's got this DC Superman comics. I don't know what this book. It's got the Black Adam in there. I don't know if that's going for now. That was a hot book for a while. But these are some good like Superman team up books. Some old Batman family books. No #9 in there, but it's okay. You got this one. I think this one is the first appearance of He-Man in a comic, the Superman and the Masters of the Universe. So if you're a He-Man fan, that's an okay find there. And then here's the big one. You got the DC up in the top right corner. DC Comics presents, what is it, 26? First appearance of the new Teen Titans. Like, that's a big book. Now, the issue with this is you can't really see the grade. To me, you can see some bumps and stuff on the bottom. Looks like it's probably somewhere at some mid-grade, but it could be really bad on the back as well. But so that's $38 for that. Like that for this lot, it's a pretty good deal. If you were to get that for all that, I'd be pretty happy with that. I already have this book, so I'm not that interested in getting another mid-grade. But that's what you can do. You can find some sweet things on these just because people who don't know what they have just list them as a big lot, and they don't list the names, so they're not searchable. So you can find them and get a screaming deal sometimes. A lot of these, like, there will be thrift stores that use eBay and sell on there, and they sell stuff in big lots. Just be aware, guys, when you do get these kind of books, if you were to buy this lot, say, these guys aren't comic book people, so they don't know how to handle the books. They don't know how to ship the books properly. I've had them in like oversized boxes with a big stack of comics, and they're just banging and bouncing around in there. So if you are going to make this purchase, it's wise to get on there and send them a message and just tell them what you want and what you expect for shipping. They're usually pretty good about it. If you can explain sort of an easier way to get them safely shipped to you, then great, because these guys don't know how to ship comics or what they're doing with this stuff. So, and if they give you fuss, you can offer to give them, if you're still getting a good deal, offer to give them a few bucks extra to put that extra effort in and ship it properly. Yeah, so that's one technique I use on eBay. There's another one I like to use. So say I'm looking for this. I've been looking for I think it's Amazing Spider-Man 430. Is it 430? Yeah. So like this book, 430 and 431, have been books I've been looking for a while. They're one of those books that like I want, but they're always a little higher rate. Like $40 for that. It's a bit more than I want to pay for the significance of that. So what you can do with eBay. So if I were to so this is Amazing Spider-Man 431. If I were to take off Amazing, go like this, and click for Spider-Man 431, then what happens? Well, Amazing Spider-Man still comes up. That's still what it gives me the first time. But if I go here and I click minus Amazing, so now it removes all the listings with the word Amazing in it, and we can see what happens. So now it's giving me all the Spider-Man issues that are just 431, that are listed as Spider-Man 431. Now it's not on here right now, but what happens is There are a lot of people who don't list as Amazing Spider-Man. They don't realize that there's 6 different Spider-Man titles. They just list Spider-Man 431. And again, when you search for Amazing Spider-Man 431, Spider-Man 431 gets listed really low because it's miswritten. It's missing words. So most people who are looking for that specific book search for Amazing. So I've done this where I've found, especially on a higher number like this, you don't get a lot of the mix with the web of and all the other ones. If you're looking for, say, the first, I don't know, Dr. Octopus or something like that. What's that? Spider-Man 3. Okay, yeah. So if you're like looking for amazing, there's Amazing Spider-Man 3. If you try this with this book, it won't work as well because there are so many other series that made it to 3 issues. So Spider-Man 3 or other things that have the word Spider-Man in them. So you can click comics here, but your odds are you're not going to find a Dr. Octopus. Like you'll get Spectacular, you'll get Spider-Man Deadpool, you'll get Peter Parker, you'll get all the other titles. I also do this like I was doing before with like mass books. So because I collect old Spider-Man comics, and sometimes I'll take all of them. So like minus Amazing, minus Web, minus Spider-Man books, Spectacular. You can do this and just do a space between all of them, and then it'll get you to some of these other books. So I'm getting all these lots again. Scroll through all these, like there's just tons of this junk, guys. Yeah, so nothing ended up coming up on this, but what'll happen some of the time is you'll get books that are listed as just Spider-Man. Here's a good one: Old Comics, Hulk, Spider-Man, Star Trek. So he's got terrible photos and terrible things. Look like the cover's ripped off. That's not a good one, but you know, that could be a Hulk 181. Probably won't be, but the other thing you can do, so if you get these poorly listed books here, you scroll down to people who viewed this or they have similar items listed. So you have other titles that are like poorly listed names. So a lot of 20 vintage Spider-Man books. You can see there's another mix. I can see an old Amazing right there. So I can click on this and go check out this other poorly listing. You got that X-Men 100 in there. You got some okay stuff in here. X-Men 166, nice, or Amazing Spider-Man 166, nice dark cover. And you gotta like do your work, do your due diligence too, because there'll be a lot of listings like this one where you see little fractions of the cover, and if you know what the cover is and what it looks like a fraction of it should be more than enough. And that's why watching guys' videos and knowing what books are out there and keeping a keen eye out, like the more knowledge you have, the better deals you can end up finding on here. Because yeah, I found books like because there's a sliver of the cover in the background. There's the first booster gold right there if that's your thing. This is $40 for this whole lot. This is kind of a junk lot, but yeah. So guys, that's some of the things I like to do when I search. I'm trying to think. There's another thing I'll sometimes do. Look at me, I got my own video up. I was answering comics. I'm not that narcissistic. If you go to Google and then you search for fat fingers, there's a few sites like this, but you can use this. What it does is that it generates eBay typos. So the more words you use, the sort of more combinations it gives. I don't use numbers because if you search for, say, well, here, I'll show you a simple one first. So let's say Spider-Man comics. And this is, you can search like American eBay. I like to search Canadian or whatever nowadays, but click to view it on eBay. And now you can see these will be possibly some like misspelled. So because I said comics, it's showing me comic with a single word. This isn't a great example. Let's try this again. Uh, Spider-Man. Okay, let's just do Spider-Man and see how this works. So click to view on eBay. So now it gives you all these different options. So web of Spider-Man 32. It's showing me the non-dash ones. Okay, these are bad examples, guys. Let me try this. Such an amazing Spider-Man. I guess this is the one. I can feel it. Okay, so here we got Amazing Spider-Man 166, 99 cents VF. So nobody's gonna find that book by searching for Amazing Spider-Man 166 because it's misspelled. Right, so yeah, that's not a terrible, well, $15, but that's because I'm in the States. But that's not a terrible thing on that. And then so the other thing is, so I look if it's someone here, you can look at his own selling thing. Because if you spell one thing wrong, it's odds are he could have spelled other things wrong. I've seen guys a Spider-Man 300 on here for like VF that sold for $40 because the guy misspelled it. I was in Regina and training at the time, so I didn't really bother. But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. There's the end of the McFarlane run. These are all non-comics. You can click up here to just hold it on to collectibles comics so that you filter out all the t-shirts and other things that are misspelled. It's all about just like organizing this information. Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Sideman. Like here's an okay one. This is a buy it now, but this guy misspelled the first Molten Man. So $2.90 and he has make an offer. So because it's misspelled, he might not know that. And you might be able to offer him a really low ball deal on this and offer, who knows, like $200. And he's thinking, I haven't got one offer since I listed this. There must not be a lot of interest. And he might go for it, right? So yeah, definitely it's worth it to get out there, know your books you want. Don't use numbers on this thing because if you were to search for like Spider-Man 15, I don't know, or let's say Spider-Man 300. It'll search for like just other numbers. Spider-Man 330, Spider-Man 330. So like by typoing numbers doesn't really help you because then it just shows you other numbers of editions of that particular book. So it doesn't really help you when you're trying to misspell the number. If you want to be hardcore, you can do it yourself. You could search for, it's a little trickier, but so say you want to search for, say you're looking for Amazing Spider-Man 300 specifically for with a typo. I wouldn't really recommend looking for a very specific book this way. It doesn't work that well. It's more for just checking out what's out there misspelled, and maybe you find a deal on something mid-grade or whatever if you're lucky. It's all about that hunt and getting those things right. Not everyone's going to be a massive key, but fill in your collection and stuff like that too. If you do search for auctions, you can get some awesome 99-cent lots and stuff like that. So here I got all the Amazing Spider-Man misspellings. It fills it up quite often, so like, oh, I can't type here. I feel like this thing's got worse. It used to have more options, so I couldn't even type in here because there was so much, but now I can add 300. This is in brackets, so now it's giving me all those misspellings with the word 300. So 0. So there's nothing available right now with any of these misspellings and 300. And these just, it generates all these different potential misspellings that you might have had, but it's not an exhaustive list. So you could like find other misspellings yourself and add them or whatever. There's different sites that do that. That one is called fatfingers.com, so you can Google that. But you can just look up eBay misspellings, things like that. It works on Craigslist as well. There's Craigslist ones. There's for a lot of different search engines and things like that. So yeah, if you can find books that are poorly listed, then people can't find them. It's kind of like going to the store and finding that box underneath the shelf that is 3 boxes deep under other boxes, and you know no one's looked through there in months and months, and there could be some good stuff in there. So it's sort of the equivalent to doing the legwork and looking around and looking for that hunt. and yeah, you can really get some good deals that way, guys. So yeah, that's just some of the techniques I use. If you guys like this video, I can do some more like this. I got lots of other stuff I do. So happy hunting, guys. Hope this helps. Hope you guys aren't out there sniping all my deals now, but you're my buddies, so I want you to do well.